I'm a cave diver. We have a rule. If you get stuck, don't panic. Panicking just burns oxygen. I was squeezing through a narrow restriction in an underwater cave system in Mexico called the Throat. My tank scraped the limestone ceiling. My belly dragged through the silt floor. I got through, entering a small chamber. I shone my light around. The water was crystal clear. On the far wall, scratches were etched into the stone. Crude letters. I swam closer. They read, "Turn around. Something in here." What kind of jerk thought that would be funny? The silt on the floor seemed undisturbed. Then I felt a current of water push against my back, as if something massive had just displaced the water behind me in the narrow tunnel I had just exited. My new AI diving assistant pinged and read, "Large creature nearby." I was driving cross-country, taking some back roads to avoid tolls. My GPS chirped, recalculating, and directed me down a gravel path into the deep woods. It was 3 a.m. I was getting tired and contemplated if this was worth dodging a $10 toll. The GPS spoke again. "In 200 feet, turn off your headlights." I laughed nervously. "Nice try." I kept driving. "Turn off your headlights," the voice commanded, louder this time. I slowed down. The road was narrowing, the trees pressing in close. "Turn off your headlights," it screamed, the audio distorting. Startled, I hit the switch, plunging the car into darkness. Immediately, a massive shape slammed onto the hood of my car. I could hear claws scraping metal. Then, the GPS whispered, in a voice that sounded frighteningly human, "Thank you. I can see you now." I travel for work and basically live in hotels. I always engage the deadbolt and hang the "Do Not Disturb" sign. It's a ritual. Last night I woke up to the sound of the keycard slot beeping. Beep. Red light. Someone was trying to get in. Beep. Red light. I sat up, ready to yell at a confused guest. Then, I heard a mechanical whirring sound from inside the room. I looked at the door. The deadbolt was slowly, manually turning from the inside. I looked down at the gap beneath the door. There were no shadows of anyone standing in the hallway. The lock clicked open. The handle turned, and the door drifted open to reveal an empty, dark hallway. The "Do Not Disturb" sign was lying on the floor in the middle of the hall. I live on the top floor of my building. Above me is just the roof. But every night at 2:13 a.m., I hear marbles dropping. Click, click, roll. It's a classic settling noise, right? The pipes must be expanding or something. Yesterday the noise changed. It wasn't marbles. It was heavy, dragging footsteps. Scrape, thud, scrape, thud. Dust fell from my ceiling light fixture. I grabbed a broom and banged on the ceiling. "Knock it off," I yelled. The dragging stopped instantly. A moment of silence. Then a voice, muffled by the plaster but unmistakably clear, spoke from directly above my head. "I was wondering when you'd notice me." Then, the ceiling plaster began to crack, bowing downward as if under a massive weight. I love the window seat on night flights, looking out at the darkness, the tiny lights of cities below. We were cruising at 30,000 feet over the ocean. Pitch black. I pressed my forehead against the cool plastic to see if I could spot a ship. Instead, I saw a face. Outside, pressed against the glass, It wasn't human. Its skin was gray and leathery, flapping in the wind. It smiled, revealing rows of needle teeth, and tapped a long finger against the window pane. Tap, tap, tap. I looked around the cabin. Everyone was asleep. A stewardess gave me a warm smile. The cabin phone rang and she answered it. I'm sure I imagined it. Maybe I am dreaming. I looked back. The creature pointed down at the wing, where rivets were popping loose, one by one. I looked back at the stewardess, expecting that comforting smile, but her face had gone pale as she listened to her call. I found an old vintage photo booth at the back of the arcade. The kind that takes 4 photos and prints a strip as a keepsake. I squeezed in and smiled. Flash 1, I'm smiling. Flash 2, I'm making a goofy face. Flash 3, I'm looking confused. Flash 4, the bulb must have burnt out. The flash never went off. I waited for the strip to print. When it came out, the first 3 photos were normal. But in the 4th photo, the one taken in the dark, I wasn't alone. A pale, jawless face was pressing its head against the side of mine, its hollow black eyes staring into the lens. I felt a cold breath on my cheek and realized it was still there, sitting next to me. I work at the front desk of a hotel. Like most hotels, we have a lost and found. Usually it's chargers and umbrellas. Today, housekeeping brought down a heavy, locked suitcase left in room 302. Guest checked out 3 days ago, she said. Why is it just now getting noticed? I asked. A shrug is all I got in response. It sat on the shelf of the lost and found closet all day. Around 5 p.m., I heard a thumping sound. It was coming from the suitcase. Thump, thump, thump. Hello? I called out. Let me out, a small voice whimpered from inside. Please, it's dark. I panicked and grabbed a screwdriver to pry the lock. I snapped the latches open and threw the lid back. The suitcase was filled with old, dusty dolls. Porcelain faces, lifeless eyes. There was no child. Then, the doll on top turned its head, looked at me, and whispered in the same voice, I'm sorry. You shouldn't have opened it. Now we have to swap.